So part 5 of the crazy conspiracies is continued. If you need, like, this is the problem with the tabloids. Like, you have to watch the prior episodes to really, like, grasp the storyline, because it gets a little kind of crazy. Like, if you didn't know, if you weren't on board from the start, you'd start to be like, dude, this is, like, you just came in right now, you're like, this sounds crazy. That's because you don't know the fact pattern, okay? That's because you don't know the fact pattern. So what you need to do is you need to go back, you need to have an open mind, and you need to see how I put the dots together. See how I put the dots together. Subscribe to my page, support my work, and then this will all make sense. And if it doesn't, then you're an idiot, because this stuff is like obvious. Obviously, there's questions to be had, and I'm having questions, and not all questions have answers. And if you don't answer my question, then that means that my question is true, because the assumption is I'm right until someone says the stupid stuff I'm saying is not right, and at which point that never happens, because then I'll move on to a different topic or whatever. And that's how. So anyways, let's get into this. Part 5. I'm very serious and also completely insane. So, okay, first of all, the backlash I'm getting is absurd, unhinged, which is wild, because I'm being extremely normal here. I can't tell you. I'm not trying to cause any controversy or anything, but I'm just telling you, anybody that says like anything against what I've been saying are unhinged, crazy people that, I mean, that's ridiculous. And so I'm over here making legitimate critiques, by which I mean aggressively connecting dots that do not want to be connected and don't have anything to do with each other. It's a hard job in its first place, and these people making it harder and screaming follow the money while holding a crumpled receipt from a gas station, for crying out loud. And suddenly people are attacking me like this is a personal attack of some kind, just because I'm putting these dots together, which they had no idea. They had no idea that you could put those dots together, or that anyone would want to, or that, like, why would you do? Look, that's ridiculous. It's not personal, it's investigative. This is investigative journalism that I'm doing on my spare time, like before bed. I'm putting in the time, and people get all upset. I'm talking timeless. I personally draw on a napkin using before and after sections of my own vibes. I have a timeline, people. It's all logical. Look at that. Look at that timeline. You can see exactly where everything is coming, where everything is going, and that's how logical it is. I'm talking about money, not specific money, just the idea of money, and how it feels like too much of it exists somewhere. And I don't think you can disagree with that, right? I'm talking about incentives, like why someone wouldn't want to silence me. A man with a microphone, a corkboard, and nothing to lose, man. Very suspicious if you think about it. Very suspicious, okay? Which I have thought about for like 6 straight hours. And I came to the conclusion it's suspicious, so I'm telling you about it. And the response I get isn't rebuttal, it's outrage. Can you believe it? Outrage for my logical progressions of dot connections. Huge outrage, Olympic level outrage. It's almost like it's organized. I think the government's behind it, and those the magic Eastern people. The kind of outrage that arrives before the criticism is even finished, man. And look, I'll make this one small observation and then move on immediately. When people respond to nonsense with more nonsense but louder, it looks emotional. I hate to say it, but this looks emotional, and it looks like it's coming from frankly a female population, and that's why people think the fact that people are arguing with what I'm saying that's the whole thing that's leading people to think that women cannot run organizations. Okay, I'm just saying it's not wrong, not evil. It's just loud. Anyway, back to my flawless reasoning. Because what really proves I'm right is how fast the influencers show up, man. Because that's what That's what happens all at once. Same tone, same words, same facial expressions, like they all smell something weird at the same time. Now, a normal person might say, wow, that's coincidence. But I say, no, Eastern Sorcerer Dynasty, right? That's the connection of the dots they don't see. They just don't see it. They don't have the Gnostic political knowledge that I'm partaking in and giving to you, like, well, for a small fee, but it's reasonable. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later, about what I'm putting on the table and how I feel like I should get a little bit of, support. But anyways, back to the story. So laser money, influence payroll, dinosaur middle management. Again, people just don't see the dots. They don't see the dots. I see the dots. People get mad because I see the dots. I got vision. I have a gift. At 3 hours before bed, this story pops into my mind. I write it down, and then I come to you with it. I tell you what I have. I mean, you can tell because none of them address my main points. They never do. They can't prove me wrong. They can't prove me wrong, which is most of my main points, mostly just me saying, isn't that kind of weird? And how can they can't prove that wrong. How can you prove me wrong? That seems kind of weird, doesn't it? And they're like, and they're over there like with their fact checking and stuff, as if stuff isn't weird. A lot of stuff is weird. You can't prove otherwise. I just say that over with increasing confidence, and that my eyebrow keeps on going up. So, and then they told people to distance themselves from me. Distance themselves from me. Does this sound familiar? This is exactly what the government does when it doesn't want you to think. 6 feet away from my ideas. We've seen it before with the whole China virus thing. Mask your ears, flatten the curve of common sense. Apparently, I'm the new China 19 virus, for crying out loud. They're like Dr. Fauci overreacting, because although I am a virus, I'm really only strong enough to give you a cold. So, it's not like I'm like a super, if people get all excited, I probably wouldn't hurt them that much, but that's the theory. And look, I'm not yelling, I'm not crying, I'm not emotional. I'm just deeply invested in a theory that only works if you accept all my assumptions and ignore all reality. And if that triggers outrage and distancing and coordinated influencer videos and at least one gay dinosaur behind the scenes trying to attack me, well then just maybe the problem isn't my argument. Maybe it's that I'm too close to the truth, man. I'm too close to the truth. And if you've seen the dots connected, you would know that. Or maybe, and hear me out, I've lost the plot entirely and bought a corkboard for no reason. Either way, they don't want you to listen to me. That's the thing. And if they don't want you to listen to me, just like when you're a kid and they say, don't do something, listening to me is what you need to do. Yeah, that's what you need to do. And honestly, with all this truth telling, I'm starting to think I need better security. Now, I brought up the security thing before, okay? I feel like, because now I've got the French legions after me because of the French president, as you know, is married to a gay dinosaur that's resurrected from the magic family that reincarnated the dinosaur bones that went extinct, rightly so, because the dinosaurs were gay, and then they went extinct like they should because they were child, right? And then they unnaturally brought them back, and now they're the hitmen, and they operate the space laser. So I'm pretty much fearing for my life over here, okay? I'm not trying to get all legal on you. I'm just saying I could use a little bit of support. So not because of a real threat, just because it feels like a threat, and feelings are basically evidence. Now, the problem is I'm a little low on funds, people, because I can't really work on anything else. I'm too busy telling the truth. I'm too busy over here for you telling the truth. This is a full-time situation, a full-time gig for me, because I've been called. I feel called for this. So now the truth does make some money. I'll admit. Okay, I'll admit that I do make a little bit of money, possibly more than some people, but still, I got expenses, you know? I got things I need to cover and stuff. So it's not a lot when you really think about it. So just enough to keep me awake and suspicious. That's all I need. I need enough to make sure I'm awake and suspicious so I can still do what I need to do. So I hate to ask, I hate to do this, but if you believe in freedom, truth, and a man connecting dots that absolutely do not belong together at all, I've got a GoFundMe strictly for security. Just for security reasons, okay? Just because, you know, I need, it's not for luxury stuff, not lifestyle, not locks, cameras, and whatever stops gay dinosaurs. No, it's